Termites! What are we drinking here? This is Savannah handcrafted vodka, the best of the low country. Savannah, wonderful city. Have you ever been? I would recommend the JW Marriott it's an old power plant. It's very, very cool. Even if you don't want to stay there, you should go in there and go look inside, because I don't often say like a hotel is funky and cool, but it is funky and cool. There's very strange dinosaur things in there. So, delicious. All right, we're back with Liberace and his brother fighting. Pizza also entered the family feud. On a television talk show, a woman in the audience inquired, "Where's George?" Lee responded with a calypso song from his nightclub act that said George was now in the frozen pizza business. George had lent his name to a pizza enterprise. In Dallas, where he was playing a hotel engagement, George issued a statement. "Everybody knows I'm no longer with my brother Lee, but let it not be said that I make my living selling frozen pizzas. Music is my life, and so it shall always be." George told reporters, "Naturally, my mother is upset by the fact we split. I definitely have no argument with my brother, only his yes men." Lee tried to smooth things over from Palm Springs. "George left me of his own volition. I wish him all the success in the world. I'm happy he's doing so well. I'm sorry about the pizza pies, but I thought George was still in that business. By the way, I ate some, and they were very good." Thanks, bro. 6 months later, George and Lee staged a public reunion at the Beverly Hills Hilton, or the Beverly Hilton Hotel, where George was appearing with his orchestra. Lee came onto the bandstand and played a couple of numbers for dancers. "The candelabra isn't the best," Lee said to George with a smile. "I'll see that you get a better one." Mom had a cold and couldn't attend. But the brothers appeared later at the Sherman Oaks house to receive kisses from Mom for press photographers. Our professional split was amicable, except in Mom's eyes. She felt that since I was the older brother, I should stay with the act. But Lee is no longer a little brother. Mom doesn't criticize my real estate ventures anymore, Lee said. She thought I was plunging too deep, but that was only because envious people misled her because I was the most successful person in the family. Oh. To all outward appearances, the Liberace feud was over, but many years would pass before the two brothers would be friends once more. In the wake of the personal upheavals came disturbing signs that Liberace's touch at the box office was no longer golden. In 1957, he was booked into New York's fabled Palace Theater, where Judy Garland had made her spectacular comeback. Liberace was scheduled for a 4-week run, but ticket sales were so slow that he closed Friday night of the second week. Oh, wow. In early 1959, he embarked on what was to be a triumphant tour of Australia. After a successful opening in Sydney, he was served with an injunction forbidding him from performing a medley of songs from My Fair Lady. The copyright owner, Chappell and Company, had exclusive rights to the performance of the score, which had not been released outside of the United States. Liberace was threatened with 6 months in jail if he even played a few bars of "I Could Have Danced All Night." "Impossible," Liberace said. "The My Fair Lady medley is a big part of the show. This whole thing is communistic inspired. Cancel the tour." Oh, that's kind of harsh. When his decision was announced to a matinee audience, 1,000 people, most of them women, booed and shouted. Police were summoned to maintain order as the enraged Australians lined up for refunds of their $4.50 tickets. The Australian newspapers featured the Liberace debacle in the headlines, and wire services transmitted the story to the United States. Alarmed by the bad publicity, Liberace agreed to reinstate the tour, and it required all of his skill to convert hostile audiences to his side. What a mess. He arrived for a performance and discovered police officers throughout the backstage. "What's going on here?" he demanded. No one wanted to tell, but finally he learned that his life had been threatened. He was undisturbed. "What happens when I go in the spotlight? I'm a perfect target," he reasoned. "You guys can go out and sit in the audience. You'll do more good out there." That's true. If I was him, I'd be more afraid of that. That's a wonderful little vodka. The judge who issued the injunction said Liberace had behaved like a petulant child and offered to pay him $450 for the copyright infringement. Liberace apologized for his accusations of a communist plot, adding, "My only thought is that I felt I was unfair not be able to perform music here that I performed many times in my own country. But his lawyer, John Jacobs, set him straight on the facts. And I have made an issue of something which should not be the concern of an entertainer. Well, if you're playing it, and then they just say all of a sudden you've been doing it, and then they're like, no, fuck it, you can't do it. That's not good. Obviously, the Liberace career was faltering, and the opportunistic John Jacobs perceived the chance to enhance his position beyond that of company lawyer. You're paying those guys too much, Jacobs told Liberace, referring to his managers. Oh, no. Heller and Lutz. What do they do for their 10%? MCA gets your bookings. Heller and Lutz are dead weight. I can do what they do for a lot less money. I don't know, Liberace said. Seymour and Sam have been awfully loyal to me. Yeah, but are they making you money? If not, then, it's a business arrangement. You can't just get stuck with that. Sure they have, but they've been paid royally for it, Lee. The money isn't rolling in the way it used to. At least let me negotiate for a lower percentage of the take. Liberace reluctantly agreed. Jacob proposed to Heller and Lutz a reduction of their commission from 10% to 7.5%. The partners flatly refused. Their association with Liberace was terminated. Whoa, as John Jacobs had planned. Gabe, Lutz, and Heller then sued Liberace, Jacobs, and their company, International Arts, for $2.3, charging concealment of funds on which the agency deserved a commission. The first new project of the Jacobs regime was another television series. Don Feddersen sold the ABC network on the notion of starring Liberace in a daily musical variety show during the daytime. It made perfect logic. Liberace's biggest following was American women who could take time off from their household chores. Oh, yeah. All AKA to my mom is, smoking cigs and whatever. To watch their hero, but we can't give them Liberace and white tails and sequins, a network executive said. He's coming into their living rooms, kitchens, in the daytime, for God's sakes. And so it was determined that Liberace would wear a customary suit and sport coats. He even had his hair trimmed so he resembled a Wall Street broker. In place of George, Gordon Robinson was the musical conductor. Liberace was surrounded by people who would be attractive to viewers. An announcer, Steve Dunn, for Liberace to chat with, a young recording star, Marilyn Lavelle, and a baritone, Dick Roman, and a bongo player, Darius. The music would range from Chopin to the current rage Purple People leader. The Liberace half-hour show, produced live from New York 5 days a week, pleased no one. Oh. Liberace fans were disappointed by his new image. Other housewives remained with their soap operas. After 6 months, the show had failed to attract an acceptable rating. It was canceled. Oh, this is not good. The failure of the ABC daytime show inspired a chorus of doomsday sayers and Lindy's in the Brown Derby. Liberace was washed up, finished yesterday's news. Vegas was no longer booking him. Oh, no, how the mighty have fallen. I need a little more light there. That's great. Oh, that sucks. He couldn't buy a guest shot on TV variety shows. His concert dates were in backwater towns. Even the Liberace jokes weren't funny anymore. Oh, no. Liberace returned to his gospel, the magic of believing. He's back to the book. You just got to go look in the mirror. Tell yourself this shit isn't happening. Make something happen. I just don't believe in all that, but I'm glad he did. He steeped himself in the Bristol doctrine, and he preached it to those who he thought he needed it, especially newcomers to show business. One of them was Phyllis Diller. I don't know that Phyllis would have gone for all this. I met her once, well, twice, actually. Very, very nice, very funny. And she was probably in her mid-80s, and it was like 11 a.m., and she looked adorable, dressed, and had already read USA Today, LA Times, and she had Clinton jokes ready. That's when I met her. Very nice. He saw her first act at the Bonsoir in New York, a small club that became the proving ground for many future stars. Lee was impressed with her rowdy, self-effacing comedy, and he met her after the show. You're great, Lee said. You knocked me out. I just wish you could play more piano in your act. You're damn good. She was a concert pianist, for real. She took a year off from comedy, I think it was a whole year, to play, I think, with the Honolulu Orchestra. Somebody can giggle that one. But, I mean, she actually really, really knew how to play the piano. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I was working at this is Phyllis Diller, copyright at Conn's, a big department store in Oakland. One day, I was waiting for a buyer to okay a full page of prices. I reached up and pulled a book down from her little office. It happened to be The Magic of Believing. I opened it, and somewhere in the middle, and started reading it, and I thought, oh my God, this book is talking to me. I borrowed it and took it up to my little cubicle. When I started reading it, I realized I wanted to underline it. I called the book department, but they said they had it. But they also said that the store owner had been giving copies to every buyer, hoping they would apply the principles the way he had without knowing it. I bought my own book, underlined it, and carried it everywhere I went for 2 years. Read it over and over. Well, maybe I got to read it if Phyllis says yes. That's when I decided I could do comedy. Without Claude Bristol, there would be no Phyllis Diller. Oh. Realization of their mutual savor made them immediate friends, and the closest remained till the end of Liberace's life. The Liberace philosophy dictated that in times of trouble, act boldly. Okay. Well, my dad always says, if you're broke, go buy a Cadillac. I don't know how you guys feel about that statement. I'd say go buy a Mercury, but they don't make them anymore. Liberace was bored with the Sherman Oaks house, and Mom hated it. Tourists and vandals made living there a misery, and the 24-hour guards were a heavy expense. That's why I said that shit's going to get expensive when there's half the time there's nothing going on. Besides, he cracked, every time I wanted to take a swim, the pool was out of tune. Get it? He started looking for a new place, something he could house his happy happies. That's what he called his knickknacks. Happy happies. Wow. The artifacts, knickknacks, and gimcracks he had collected throughout the world. As soon as he acquired wealth, Liberace became a world-class shopper. In every city on his concert tours, he inquired for the location of antique shops, curio stores, junk shops, galleries. His trips abroad inevitably resulted in a stream of packages and crates en route to California. If he heard of an antique shop in Edinburgh that specialized in vintage crystal, he would make a pilgrimage there. His inspiration for the new house came when he was in England, and he visited the Duke of Bedford at Woburn Abbey. Liberace was overwhelmed by the elegance of the French decor. That I gotta have, he told himself. He returned to London and embarked on a shopping spree for French furniture. Back in California, he hunted through the hills of Hollywood, Beverly Hills, and Bel Air for a suitable repository for his collection. He found it on Herald Way above the Sunset Strip. Well, I wish I'd have known that when I lived there. I could have gone and looked at it. A few blocks from Ciro's. One of 14 estates in a 1920s development called the Hacienda Acres. It had been owned by Rudy Valley and Ad Harding, but I wonder how old he is at this point. But it had been vacant for several years. Ooh. I don't know about that. That seems like bad luck, right? The paint was peeling, plaster was falling off the ceiling, but Liberace saw in its 28 rooms a vision of French palace. He bought the place and started a massive renovation. By Bastille Day, 1961, he had moved in, and he invited members of the press to view its splendor. There are none of the old gimmicks in this place, he assured a visitor, except my piano-shaped bed and an ancient gramophone that I converted into a hi-fi. The front door looked like solid gold. It was gold-leafed and covered with coatings of plastic. The 50-foot living room had gold wallpaper. Oh, my God. Thick off-white carpeting trimmed in gold. Oh, my God. Designed by Liberace, the carpet had been woven in Japan. Crystal chandeliers everywhere. He had discovered them, blackened and broken in the depths of antique shop, and then restored them to gleaming beauty. 2 chairs worn and cracked from years on movie sets had been repainted and reupholstered with tapestry Liberace bought in Spain. The living room was dominated by a 20,000 gold leaf French baby grand piano, topped, of course, with a gold candelabra. Oh, my God. I can't even imagine spending this kind of time on, I guess it's a hobby, but I mean, life's too short for me to go, I'm going to redo this into a French palace. How long are you going to live? I mean, on to the organ room. Oh, my God. All the rooms had names so the servants would know where to go. The organ had been built into the room by the original owners, but Liberace felt it looked too much like something out of Phantom of the Opera. He had moved it to an adjoining room, restored mechanically, reupholstered, and gilded. I really don't play it too well, he admitted, but I'm working on it. There were 2 formal dining rooms Oh my God, it goes on. The master bedroom had a piano bed. The entire house, which he valued at $250,000, including $140,000 in furnishings, was pure Liberace, and he was unabashed in his admiration of it. To those who cried kitsch, I never know how to say it, he turned a deaf ear. As he wants to explain, I love the fake. As long as it looks real, I'll go for it. More than anything, Liberace loved Christmas. I think we should stop there, termites. We're almost done. Well, maybe about 4 or 5 more nights, I'd say. Wow. Would you take the time, even if you had the money? I don't think I would spend my time doing that. I mean, it's great somebody's doing it, I guess, but I wouldn't do it. It's too much, I don't know. Everything's temporary. So that's all I got, termites. I hope everybody's having fun. Enjoying a nice cocktail. Reno, I'm coming your way. Selbyville, Delaware, I'm coming your way. Vegas! August 6th, the Mirage. And I think just announced, I think I can say August. I'll wait to say that one. There's another good, well, there's a couple good ones in August. And then it really starts in September. And then I don't have a weekend free till I think 2027 to make up for a year of story time, of sitting on my ass in this chair. There is going to be a price to be paid, and I will be paying it. But having tons of fun on the road while I do that. All right, termites. You're good termites. You're smart termites. You're springtime termites. Most importantly, you're worthy termites. Okay? Ready? Night-night termites.